first down. The handoff to Marlon Mack. Huge hole, 50-yard line. He's at the 40, still going near sideline. He's at the 10. He's at the 5, and he will score. Touchdown, Marlon Mack. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard. Leonard with his second INT, and he's streaking down the near sideline. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He's going to go. A pick six for the Maniac.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's up, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Juice podcast. Just wanted to make a quick video for you guys about a topic that was coming out of the NFL this week. It's now being reported that the NFL and the NFLPA have decided to not play any regular season games for the 2020 season. This obviously comes from a move of trying to deal with the COVID pandemic and seeing the NFL trying to take positive steps to reduce the spread in that regard. So, at face value, a lot of people would say, oh, well, this really doesn't matter that much. I mean, everybody's kind of had their feelings toward preseason already established, kind of useless for a lot of people. You think, it doesn't really serve a lot for the starters, I mean, obviously the starters really don't care about preseason, right? They've already established themselves. They play for a quarter and then they're done. It's kind of like that. But I will say that this does really stink for some of these NFL players. I mean, you're talking about on the basis of two arguments as to why this stinks for a bunch of players in this league. You're talking about guys who are fighting for positions and amongst the main roster. And then you're talking about undrafted free agents and other guys who are just trying to make the roster. And on top of everything else that's going on, I think the NFL said hundreds of players are going to have to get cut because of the roster size being cut down from 90 to 80. So that's 10 players per team, man. That's over 300 players. It really does suck what's going on in the NFL right now, with, how everything is going, but, that's how life has been for America over the last, basically 5 months. So, I will say it's quite, crazy to think about, but I mean, again, it's the whole world, the whole country's been affected by that same way. But in regards to, preseason games not being a thing anymore, at least not for this season, it really does stink for the guys who are trying to battle for those number 2 and 3 or even 4 positions. You got guys that are wanting to move up in rosters, because they get that playing time to establish themselves as having some kind of credibility to be able to do stuff, because training camp's not everywhere you're going to be able to go. You're not going to always get that competition because you're going to be facing the same guys all the time. You're not going to get that competition or that level of intensity from outside of a game. So, it really does stink for guys that are wanting to do that. And, for guys who are trying to make rosters, these undrafted free agents, most of them are not even going to get to be on a roster this year. I know that the majority, like 30%, it says about 30% of NFL rosters came from guys that were undrafted free agents. How many guys are going to miss out? How many guys are going to miss out this season because of, not having as many opportunities to do that this year? We were just talking to one of our Colts players that we interviewed the other day about it. And we're asking him, how does that impact you and everything else? So, it's one of those things that it's unfortunate part of the business, but it is something that has to be taken care of. Like I said, I'm one of those people that says, NFL preseason, it's not the worst thing in the world that you have to get rid of. Honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, I understand why the NFL's doing it. They're trying to just say, let's try and reduce the risk of COVID amongst the players as much as possible. We're giving them training camp. We're giving them chances to meet with teams, but we don't want to have as many of these things as possible to basically just allow the regular season to be what we want it to be. So regardless of what you say about your the lack of a preseason and your feelings towards that, it does stink for some of these guys that, use that time to establish and put a name to themselves and make themselves to get a chance upon this team. And that's for all teams. So my heart goes out for a lot of those players, but there will be other times, and I'm sure that next year when a lot of this is settled down, we'll probably see a few preseason games. This might actually become a thing where we could potentially see only 2 preseason games in the future. It could be a possible thing. Maybe that this gives the NFL an excuse to limit preseason games from here on out. Something that people have been saying for a while, but they never really wanted to tackle it. So that's all I got for this one, guys. It definitely is an interesting topic, but again, most likely things are not going to happen like that. But training camp is starting up here soon. Not sure when we'll actually get this recording up, but whether or not it will actually be up by training camp starts, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's going to be fun, guys. No preseason, so we got to wait another month for football, unfortunately. But hopefully that just means the NFL can get this COVID thing under control. We can kind of get a better balance and protection plan with these players, and we can start figuring out what we can do for the regular season. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you as always. And as always, go Colts.